Welcome back to the Netherloom Codex. I am your host, Cedric. Tonight's story is part 2 of The Hollow King, The Crown of Roots. Please enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe for part 3. Elan stood at the edge of the weeping wood, the wind carrying whispers not of fear, but of longing. Behind her lay the round table, not broken, not buried, but blooming. Before her stretched a path carved not by stone, but by roots, alive and glowing faintly beneath her feet. The crown of roots had called to her in dreams for weeks, visions of a sapling growing from a golden helm, of voices singing in soil. Now it was more than vision. It was a summons. The bard knights had tried to dissuade her. Too much is stirring, warned Seal, Knight of Sky. Old oaths are waking, and not all kindly. But Elan was no longer a child. She kissed the mirror one last time, its surface showing not her reflection but the past, Bedivere smiling beneath his thornwood cloak. Then she set out. Through the weeping wood the trees bowed to her, leaves fell in reverence, not death. A fox with golden eyes joined her, silent, wise, perhaps more than it seemed. At night it guarded her dreams, by day it led her deeper into the green. She encountered the oak-born, ancient tree spirits who once crowned Arthur. They tested her heart, not her sword. She sang the names of every knight who fell in Camelot and passed their trial. One offered her a sprig of white mistletoe. For truth, it whispered, even when it cuts. Elan wove it into her hair. She crossed the river Varelia, whose waters once turned men mad, but Elan drank without fear. Her clarity turned the river sweet. The spirits within wept, freed from centuries of wrath. In the ruins of Eldenmere, she found the bones of the Red Queen, sister to Morgana, keeper of forgotten fire. Her ghost rose and laughed. Still chasing crowns? No, Elan said, I plant them. The Red Queen bowed. Deep in the hollow hills, Arthur awaited. Not quite whole, not quite gone. He rose from stone, eyes like stormlight, and took her hand. You are not what I expected. Nor were you. Together, they passed into the thorned vale, where nightmares grew like vines. There, Elan faced herself, a reflection shaped by fear, wielding doubt like a blade. They fought. They bled, and then they embraced. The thorn wounds bloomed into lilies. They returned together, not to reclaim thrones, but to sow peace. Arthur taught Elan the old ways, how to speak to stone, how to listen to rain, and Elan taught Arthur the new songs, of grief, of joy, of healing. Together, they planted the Garden of All Voices, a place where no tale was forgotten and every name had meaning. The Hollow King rested beneath its roots. The Dreaming King walked its paths. And Elan, the root-crowned queen, became the story we tell when we need to remember who we are. But even in peace, the world churned. A ripple from Varelia's awakening reached distant lands, the frosted wastes of Mern, where silence sang louder than storms, and the obsidian spires of Carthiel, where dragons dreamed of their own forgotten kingdoms. From Carthel came a rider, tall, hooded, faceless. He bore a scroll of flame and a warning. The worm of all winds stirs, he who sleeps beneath the world, the one even stars dread. Arthur paled, Elan reached for the earth. Roots answered, curling around her feet. We must go, she said. Their path took them beyond the lands of men. First, to the shores of Hush, where song could kill and silence could heal. They met the Echo Twins, guardians of forgotten language, who gave Elan a seed carved from silence. Then to the glass labyrinth of Arventel, where memories walked as flesh. There, Elan found her mother, not truly, but a shard of memory shaped like her. They spoke of choices and sorrow. Elan left with tears in her eyes and clarity in her heart. In the emerald depths they battled the lurker vine, a creature born from greed, grown from the roots of kings who refused to yield. Arthur fell. Elan sang him back. They passed through the scorched halls of Bankiln, where the Fire Lords once forged suns. There, Elan earned the Flame Word, a blade of light that cuts lies. She used it sparingly, for truth can wound deeper than steel. In the skyborn city of Aerolith, they bargained with wind spirits who demanded a secret in exchange for safe passage. Arthur gave them his name. I am no longer king, he said. Let it scatter. and so the wind bore his name across the heavens. At last, at the edge of the world, they reached the maw of winds. The ground cracked, and from below rose the worm, vast, ancient, and sorrowful. I was made by war, it said, fed by fear, forgotten by time. Who dares sing before me? I do, Elan said, stepping forward. I remember, and I forgive. She sang, not to fight, to soothe, to listen. The worm wept. Its tears fell as stars, and the world exhaled. In time, a new star appeared in the sky, green gold and flickering. Children called it Elan's crown. Bards called it the rootward flame. And though Elan and Arthur walked no more among mortals, their stories wove into every branch, every stream, every lullaby whispered in the dark. Camelot never fell again. It bloomed, and beneath its branches we remember. Yet not all stories end. In the Valley of Mirrors, where time is braided and bent, an echo stirred, soft, uncertain, but growing. A child with eyes like dusk and laughter like spring began to ask the forbidden question. What came before the first king? And from the stone roots of Avalon, something ancient listened. Its eye opened. Elan had returned to the garden of all voices, but her dreams no longer belonged to her alone. At night, she wandered forgotten corridors of thought, speaking with stars who called her by a name she had not yet earned. She began waking with words on her lips, runes older than the land, riddles carved into the marrow of the world. She told Arthur. He merely nodded. The roots grow deeper still. Thus began the age of listening. Elan summoned the Bard Knights to Camelot, now a city of green towers and stone grown soft with moss. From every border they came, those who had survived the hollow years, and those newly called by the voice of the land. Together they formed the circle of the fifth flame, sworn not to battle, but to bear memory. Their first task, the sealing of the Sable Archives. Beneath the ruins of Greywick Abbey, old scrolls writ in despair stirred. They told tales meant to erase, not preserve, echoes that devoured, words that unmade. Elan, wearing the crown of roots, stepped into the vault. She sang each false word back into truth. Light bloomed with every stanza. Silence wept. When she emerged, her hair had turned silver at the tips. Elsewhere, the world changed. Mountains moved to make way for memory. The winds that once whispered fear now spoke in lullabies. The seas remembered lost ships, returning them whole, with bewildered crews who thought they'd been gone an hour, not centuries. But every rebirth draws watchers. High above the world, atop the shard spire, where even dragons feared to tread, sat the watcher in the mirror cloak. Neither man nor wraith, it fed on reflection and lingered on the edge of every tale. It saw Elan, and began to descend. Elan felt it, like a splinter behind the eye. She and Arthur journeyed east, past the whispering fields and into the mirror realms. There, memory was water, and faces wore the faces of others. It was here they met Sereth, the dreamsmith. Sereth forged memories into blades, and nightmares into shields. He offered Elan a helm wrought from the first moon's shadow. To wear it, he said, is to walk all paths at once. She declined. I must see with my own eyes. They returned to find Camelot dim. The watcher had arrived. It did not attack. It remembered too loudly. It filled the air with echo, until children forgot their own names and rivers ran in loops. Elan stood before it. You do not belong, she said. The watcher tilted its head. I belong to forgetting. So did I, she replied, and she told it a story. Of a boy who held a broken sword. Of a king who dreamed of peace. Of a girl who sang a garden into being. With each word, the watcher shrank, until it was a single shard of glass, reflecting only the sky. She buried it beneath the tree of first truth. A year passed, then two. The world grew gentle. The dreaming king walked in public, sharing bread with strangers, his crown left beneath a stone. Elan became a myth before she faded. Yet the crown of roots bloomed still. It whispered to a new child, Myron of the river clays. Born of quiet, raised in silence, she heard the roots calling before she learned her own name. And when she found the crown beneath the flowering elder tree, it fit perfectly. And so the tale continued. But Elan's part was done. She walked beyond the veil, not in death, but in story. She became the humming between verses, the green flicker in firelight, the breath before the tale begins. Camelot remains, not of stone, but of memory, where all roots lead. Years passed, but the earth never forgot. In the quiet hills of Ardenshade, Maren wore the crown not as a symbol of rule, but of remembrance. She spoke to seeds, to stones, to sorrow, and the land listened. She built a school not of mortar, but of wind and whisper. Children came with questions and left with stories. They learned the names of every leaf, every ghost. They learned to sing the world awake. But deeper still, beneath Avalon's oldest roots, something stirred, a lullaby half finished, a cradle rocking in silence. It was not malevolent, nor was it kind. It was forgotten, and forgotten things, once remembered, do not always thank you. One night, Maren dreamed of a figure walking through fog, trailing ribbons of music. It turned to her with eyes like candlelight and said, "I remember you." Maren awoke to find a single violet flower blooming on her windowsill, one not native to her land. She knew what it meant. The dreaming king had begun to stir. Thank you for listening to tonight's story. This is the end of part 2 of The Hollow King, The Crown of Roots. The story will be continued in part 3, The Dreaming King.